Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon by talking about the movies, obviously, or whatever the case may be, I guess. So, I'm going to be responding to a rather short podcast here, folks. I don't want this video to be too long, really. I know these tend to be very rather lengthy, but of course, as you can see, yeah, it's going to be about the princesses. Though, what do these characters have to do with anything exactly? I don't know. Of course, it's going to be all over the place. Of course, it's going to be really absurd. Of course, it's going to be over the top. Of course, it's nonsensical, obviously. But basically, the idea here is that these individuals in this podcast are trying to talk about sex education. Basically, when you get down to it, that the way that these characters look is somehow a bad image for the little girls who might be watching. So, yes, basically, getting straight to the point here, it's just a rant on the Prince's characters. Nothing new here. There's nothing wrong with them. The way they look is fine, and the way they were designed is fine. The personalities are fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with said characters. They're all interesting in their own way, and that's fine. You don't want these stories to be repeating themselves anyway. They're all perfectly fine the way they are. But, of course, I've discussed this kind of thing before where people take issue with these princess characters for one reason or another. But that's basically the nutshell of what this podcast is going on. Just them pretty much moaning like, oh no, these characters are doing something bad somehow. So have a listen, I guess. Here we go.
Time now for 90 Seconds on Sex with Dr. Paul.
Do Disney princess movies impact the way that girls think of themselves? Well, in the last decade, Disney has done a marketing campaign that centers around its princess movies.
And there's nothing inherently wrong with that either because they make a lot of money. These types of movies make a truck ton of money. The first big box office hit ever was, in fact, a princess movie. So, it makes perfect sense in that regard when it comes to marketing.
As a result, related sales have gone from $300 million a year to $4 billion a year.
So, okay, what's with the numbers? Why is he saying it like this specifically? I mean, yes, okay, the Disney-related princess material, merchandising movies or whatever else, yes, they make a lot of money. But it's a confirmed bias. He's trying to make it seem it's super scary.
Much of this gain has been as a result of getting young girls to identify with Disney princesses.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Yes, we were going this angle again. Ugh.
And to buy the associated toy products. I just read a fascinating study that looked at how the Disney movies present gender roles to young girls. The question is whether these movies are quietly encouraging the idea that girls are more passive, sensitive, and delicate than men.
Well, that's a flat out lie. These princess movies are not trying to teach the idea, the concept that all women are more passive or should be more passive compared to the aggressive behavior of men. In other words, he's claiming that these movies are incredibly sexist, which is a flat out lie. That's not true at all. But look at the Bible itself. There's so much sexism in the Bible itself. A lot of this gets dismissed because it puts women in a negative spot. I mean, it makes Christians look bad. So, of course, a lot of Christians won't bring this up. I mean, some of them will, of course. So, the thing is that, how can he be saying that these films are sexist when he doesn't even look at the Bible at all? Come on.
And that men are more assertive and will ultimately rescue them.
Again, that's a complete flat out lie. Okay, before I make a reference to princess stuff, again, look at the Bible. It's incredibly sexist. These are just, of course, from the Bible itself. It doesn't matter which version you're talking about. You're gonna find these quotes all over the place. So, yeah, about that. If there's anything that's horribly sexist, it's that. I mean, hell, in the first Cinderella film, she was never rescued by Prince Charming. He's there, but she was never rescued. It was her choice to want to go to that ball. It was her choice to remain kind, which in itself can be a symbolism of strength. It was her choice to continue her dream. It was her choice to not give up. It was her choice to not give in into hatred. Come on, it's there. I would even use Scenario 3 A Twist in Time for an example of this. And because the thing is that while he does have more character development compared to the first film, yes, it shows that he's willing to do anything he would want to help out. Yes, he can be brave. Yes, he can be strong. But this was never done in such a way to shove it down her throat by any means. It was never done to be mean. It was never done to be rude. It was done in a loving, compassionate way.
While the answer appears to be more yes than no,
why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god, stop fucking lying.
Disney portrays some pretty complex male-female interactions, especially in their more recent movies.
Yeah, he's acting like all the original Disney princess movies were like the 1950s housewives and whatnot, which of course that's a falsehood right there when you think about it, and acting as if the new recent Disney films are changing all that, which no, that's yeah. Are you sure about that? I mean, really, someone has not done the research at all. I mean, that's not to take stabs at the new princess movies whatsoever. Don't get this twisted. And okay, case in point, I'll take you to the original Little Mermaid. That's not exactly recent. That's quite old. That's over 20 years old, and that's all the relationship between a man and a woman in a decent way, of course. So yeah, about that. Again, I must go back to how the Bible views women and how women should act and behave and whatnot when it comes to the roles of the household and basically anything else. So again, you have not done your research, like at all whatsoever.
I think the ultimate question is whether gender role stereotypes are impacting young women. Colleges today have way more female students than male, which is a massive turnaround from how it was in 1937 when Disney released Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Well, that's completely wrong again. Just because society at the time had different rules for women, that's not enough evidence to support the idea that this Disney film is sexist. Yes, it was made during a certain period of time in America, granted, but that doesn't mean the film itself is sexist. There's plenty of films that were made during this period of time. I don't see it picking on any of those. Again, just look at the Bible. I know, excuse me if I'm being a little repetitive here. This is the last time I'm going to bring this up in this video because I think I hammered this idea enough already, but give me a break here.
And unlike 1937, these days you're just as likely to see women drinking and picking up men for one-night stands.
While yes, unfortunately, even today's society still have some sexism going on. That's true. Just because he has been bringing up some facts, that still doesn't mean he has a point. Yes, society has changed over the years, and hopefully always for the better. But he seems to be dismissing a whole lot of stuff here.
So regardless of whatever gendered stereotypes Disney might be presenting in its princess movies, I think a lot of girls are taking their own message from it.
And these movies were never about making women be submissive. That was never the idea. Just projecting that attitude onto the film just because these films, the original films, I mean, when it comes to the princess genre, were made in a specific time period. So again, you're lying. Yeah, that'll be it, folks. When it comes to this podcast, it was really quick. Like I was saying a moment ago, I want to keep this as short as possible. But again, basically, he's just trying to beat you over the head that the original Disney films, when it comes to the princess, were made in a certain time, and how the more newer, more modern Disney films, like Frozen, for example, are different compared to back then, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, and that does not mean that the older films are sexist. Just because it's different does not mean the old films are sexist. Get out of here with that. Later, folks.